Welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show. The much-awaited inauguration of the 650,000 barrels per day Dangote oil refinery will be performed tomorrow, Monday, May the 22nd of 2023, by President Muhammadu Buhari. The refinery is expected to meet 100% of Nigeria's demand for oil refined products. Products expected to be produced in tons daily include premium motor spirit, PMS, diesel, aviation jet fuel, and dual-purpose kerosene, among others. Although production of petroleum products is not expected from the plant until later in the year, the completion of Africa's biggest oil refinery and the world's biggest single-train facility is projected to create a market for $21 billion per annum of Nigerian crude. According to a report released by S&P Global Commodity Insights, the Dangote refinery is anticipating the arrival of its first crude batch in June. The inauguration is generating a lot of excitement from government officials, industry players, and Nigerians, as it has the potential to transform Nigeria from a petrol import-dependent country to an exporter of refined petroleum products. We're now being joined by oil and gas expert Dan Kunle to examine the prospects of the mega refinery, upon which a lot of Nigerians have become emotionally attached. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Dan Kunle from our Abuja studio. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruben Abati. And may I say congratulations to all Nigerians and Africans. I think for the first time after 1960 independence of Nigeria, we are now going to begin the journey to our industrial independence, economic independence, with this mega refinery to be inaugurated tomorrow. I say this in fairness to all our efforts since 1960 to industrialize, because we came in the midst of the third industrial revolution in 1960. We were to build up the momentum with political independence and economic independence. But unfortunately, we were just focusing on our political survival. Our economic independence was left completely undeveloped. So we remain underdeveloped economically while we were battling with the political survival. Now, the third industrial revolution is going into fourth industrial revolution. But luckily for us, Aliko Dangote, whom we have to celebrate as one of the best industrialists in Africa, is now going to help us to step into economic independence. This is the journey to our economic independence.
Okay,
thank you.
Mr. Dan Kunle, thank you for joining us, but I would like to rephrase the question. I can understand what you are saying, but let me put it like this. What is the place of Dangote refinery in Nigeria's energy supply and hydrocarbon issues? You know what it is with regard to hydrocarbon. You know what it is with regard with the refineries. I don't need to, give you
thank you very much
on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. It's a very significant milestone for you to have a crude oil refinery facility such as the one in Lekki now. It shows the spirit of entrepreneurship in Aliko Dangote. It shows also the spirit of Nigerian private sectors, that they can do it. They can break the rock. They can crack through the hardest rock. That is the spirit. Now, the place of this refinery in our political economy today, you will not recognize it totally until you start seeing the mainstream production and all the product coming out. As at now, it will still look like a a theory to everybody that will this thing be a reality, will this thing be a reality. By the time it comes to the reality of product coming out of that refinery, and Nigerians begin to see the flow, the steady flow of PMS, kerosene, AGO, cooking gas, then Jet A1, then people will begin to ask the question, is it possible? I cannot believe this. But the same way people could not believe that telephone could become a common thing in Nigeria. Telephone was a luxury. So very soon, we are going to see the positive impact of this mega refinery across Nigeria. But I must quickly say, the hydrocarbon value chain, where the refinery is placed today, is situated, is in the midstream. A refinery is midstream. It takes crude from upstream, refine it, and give it to downstream end retailers, end users. Now, the government of Nigeria, NNPC, and government are still playing in the downstream. This refinery coming to mainstream will now tell government to cease from participating in downstream. They should allow the private sectors who have invested their money over the years in building petrol stations across the country, and they don't have product to sell. They should now allow them access petrol directly from this refinery or through the depots across the country to now do what they are best in doing, private sector management. So government should not spend government money to compete with the private sector in selling petrol within our country. So because the capacity of this refinery is going to make us to become very dominant in Nigeria and this regional market. So this is the place of this refinery. This refinery is here to debottleneck and to break the jinx between upstream and downstream. So the midstream is going to be run by an efficient private sector manager. So the product will now go to the downstream retailers, who should be government, so who the government must leave alone to run the market as market supposed to be operated, market economy. So I don't want us to take the product from the refinery and give it to government. Government now start again rationing it to people. No, let it go straight to the people who have invested in downstream asset over the years, because they are currently being crippled by NNPC and government.
Okay.
So this is the situation of this refinery.
Mr. Dan Kunle, let me ask you. I mean, as you were speaking, somebody, a friend of mine from Warri, sent a message. He says he's happy and unhappy about Dangote Refinery, and that what you are saying is just pro-Dangote. And he asked the question, how will this refinery contribute to the domestic economy, and what will be the fate of existing refineries owned by government? Not my question. Somebody from
Thank you very much.
Posted.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much to the gentleman from Warri. He has his right to perceive whatever anybody says in the way he wants to perceive it. That's his right. But for me, I am a student of history. 2007, 2008, Port Harcourt Refinery and Kaduna Refinery were privatized in 2006, 2007 by President Obasanjo regime. Dangote was among the lead consortium that bought Port Harcourt and Kaduna Refinery.
You know him.
The regime that took over from Obasanjo retrieved the refinery back from Dangote and his group, and Femi Otedola and Seyi, all of them, and said that they will fix the refinery, and that within 2 years, if the refinery is not fixed, they will return it back to Dangote's group. Till today, the refinery has not been fixed, and Dangote was down in spirit that time. But Dangote, in his private, personal, motivated lifestyle, insisted that he was going to own a petrochemical and refinery in this country. And he has done it. So if I come on television to prove to you what he has done, we are all Nigerians. He didn't stop you in Warri there from building a refinery. You are sitting on crude oil and gas there. Dangote, Aliko Dangote did not stop you from building one. Aliko Dangote did not stop federal government and NNPC from fixing the 3 refineries. They refunded their money and they move on. But we are saying we have reached a point now. Allow the private sector to drive the economy of this country. Governments should set up a strong regulatory framework to nurture and babysit businesses, private sector. So what Aliko has done, government can encourage it in 30 places in this country. In agriculture, in anything. So the man in Warri has his right. But he's sitting in Warri. Warri Refinery is not working. Warri Refinery has a petrochemical plant with a black carbon plant that's supposed to produce raw material for the tire industry. It's not running. Delta Steel is there. It's not running. So individuals in Nigeria can have their lamentations about the country. But when an individual, a private sector manager, have done so well, you cannot stop me from expressing it. So you can come and express your own. This is a global village. This is free speech, free enterprise. So I don't have any bad intention about what people say. People can say whatever they say. Aliko Dangote has made history for us. That's all. He's emancipating us.
Okay, Mr.
He's taking us out of the wood.
Mr. Kunle.
$21 billion. Is that a chicken change anywhere in the world?
Mr. Dankunle, somebody
That
just
is
sent...
not chicken change.
No, somebody just
even
sent...
Nigeria government at the moment, if you pull $21 billion out of our foreign reserve,
Mr. Dankunle,
you can know a country don't go bankrupt, but you can just imagine what Nigeria will become.
Mr. Dankunle,
so please,
can you hear
Dr.
me?
Abati,
Can you hear me?
It's good that the gentleman in Warri have spoken in that way. It's very good.
Mr.
So
Dankunle,
at least I've given him some history now. He can see why we must celebrate Aliko Dangote.
Okay, Mr. Dankunle, somebody else just sent a question. I don't want to mention her name. She says, the Dangote Refinery breaks all of Trust Commission rules in other advanced economies. It's only in Nigeria that such an aberration happens. Did you hear me? Okay, we'll take this break and we'll come to you so that you can get the question from this doctor asking about Trust Commission rules. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to This is Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. We've been talking to oil and gas expert Dan Kunle, who's been examining the prospects of the mega refinery, the Dangote Refinery, which will be commissioned tomorrow. Mr. Dan Kunle, thank you very much for staying with us. Well, I was, before we lost audio connection with you, talking about a question by another viewer of the program. And she's saying that the Dangote Refinery breaks all of Trust Commission rules in other advanced economies. It's only in Nigeria that such an aberration happens. Okay, she's talking about monopoly, I think, violation of anti-competition rules. What do you think?
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruben Abati. I think we do one thing in this country that at times used to put me aback at times. When you talk competition and innovation, it is a game of free entry, free exit. In this country today, if you take a step back from Obasanjo regime, they gave licenses up to maybe 18 or 19 thereabout for licenses for refinery. So how many refinery has been built by those people? So if one person have succeeded in building his refinery, including the Watersmith, the small modular refinery in the Niger Delta there, and maybe the one of Dr. Latana, if people have succeeded in building one or two, and immediately a Nigerian who has his right to observe whether it is against anti-competitive law or not. Yes, if you are two in the market or three, you have an advantage of either monopoly or duopoly or oligopoly. Of course. But if the door is open, it's free entry, free exit. This is a market economy. So nobody has put barrier and say you cannot build more cement factory or more crude oil refinery or petrochemical. Nobody has put barrier. Nobody. So at times I look at people when they talk in the most lazy way, which is our nature and more or less a culture. If you are a participant in the political and economic development of this country, you will see that we do more talking than to go there to participate. We should become participants and not just talking. I have been a participant in every segment of the economy of this country. I've been a participant. So I know what it takes to get project done in this country, even government to get their own project done. They could not even complete Ajaokuta Steel Complex. They could not even run their own refinery. To build refinery by government take them 10, 15, 20 years. So if one private man have built a refinery between 2014, 15 and now, of that size, anywhere in the world, he has entered Guinness Book. So why will somebody be saying, oh, it's now monopoly? Nobody have stopped you from building another refinery. Go and start the study and build one. So anybody who assumes that, oh, because Dangote has a 650,000 refinery capacity, it means it's a monopoly. No, nobody has asked you not to set up. West African countries, Ghana is about to commission another 100,000 megawatts. So it's 100,000 barrels per day. So nobody, Cote d'Ivoire, all of them. So nobody is stopping anybody from setting up refineries. Nobody. So I don't see, see any threat to anybody's ambition. Yeah.
Mr. Kunle, I have just two more questions for you. On the fact sheet released by Dangote Refinery, we're told that Dangote Refinery will be able to meet 100% of Nigeria's PMS requirement. Is that achievable?
Yes, Dr. Ruben Abati, I will answer this question in a very scientific way. If I know the exact volume of PMS Nigeria consumes per day from the PPRA, which is now Midstream Downstream Regulatory Authority, if I have a fair knowledge of the volume, whether it's 60 million, whether it's 70 million, whether it's 80 million, then I will be able to say, yes, the full production capacity of Aliko will meet our daily requirement in the country. And the balance can go for the regional market or even international market. So, but I cannot answer that question because up to today, we have not been given the exact figure of our daily consumption of PMS in this country. We have been having different numbers. But this refinery takeoff may now even help this country to know the exact volume. Because now, since you cannot import, since there will be no more import racketeering, so it means we will now even be able to know the exact, maybe in a year's time, God sparing our life, I will be here again to say, okay, this is the volume they are pushing out from the refinery per day, and this is how it has covered the country. Since all the bottlenecks will have been removed. So that is the way I will want to dimension this question.
Okay, Mr. Kunle, final question, last question. How do you think that the emergence of the Dangote refinery will impact on the regional market? I ask this because one of the major issues is smuggling and all of that. How would Dangote refinery 650,000 barrels per day and do they call it KPA, fertilizer and other added values, how will it affect the regional market? Briefly.
Thank you very much. Dr. Ruben Abati, let me tell you, Nigeria has a big advantage in land mass, in the endowment on the land and in the land. If you go by the ECOWAS spirit, Nigeria, if you produce anything, if you go by the ECOWAS spirit, you can sell across West Africa. You can sell across Central Africa. Our problem has been lack of capacity because we are not industrialized. So if we industrialize in Nigeria, we can easily annex those small countries and give them what they need at a competitive price. So they don't need to import from France, from anywhere in the world. They will just look onto Nigeria as the host country for Africa and Central Africa, sub-regional Africa. So it's very, I believe that our PMS, the PMS from Dangote Refinery, will look after regional Africa. And I believe also his petrochemical output will go a long way because those countries are very small. Their GDP is very low. So we are really now out to play big boy. This is the first time I can see Nigeria is going to play a big boy role in Africa. So I think Nigerians should be stimulated by this project. It has a lot of value chain effect. And I believe it is good. I congratulate President Buhari. I congratulate Lagos State government. I congratulate the incoming president because he is the host. Is the host of this project in Lagos. If the atmosphere there is not right, Aliko will not invest there. So I congratulate all Nigerians that for the first time, we have something that is giving us hope that something good can take place here. It has been bad history, bad history, bad history. So we have something to look onto now. So that's my message. That's my message.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Dan Kunle. We look forward to the inauguration of the Dangote Refinery tomorrow here in Lagos. And we hope that we will not, ordinary people will not have issues with traffic and that everything will go smoothly. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.